Hello and welcome to a story of R/No Sleep. The original creator is called Ant-Man Has No Name. Here we go. A crooked man. Once there was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence, but a crooked style. He fought a crooked cat, which caught a crooked mouse, and they all lived together in a little crooked house. I think I was 8 when I first heard the rhyme. Maybe 9. I can't remember the date. But I can still vividly recall every detail. I was in the family room. The TV was blaring noise from some news channel my mum was watching. And I was playing with the new toys I had gotten for Christmas. A few days prior, my mum had just gone to the kitchen to prepare dinner, and I was trying to fit my old toy ray gun in the new toy's hand. I had just given up, and I was halfway up the stairs to my room when I heard a new show playing on the TV. It was a kids' show by the sound of it. I could hear the high-pitched voices of those old puppet shows from my mum's childhood. Thinking my mum had turned the show on to watch with me, I went back down to the family room. I always hated those stairs, so steep and narrow. Sometimes I felt like I would trip and crack my head open falling down them. I was always a paranoid kid. The stairs were walled off on either side, which meant all I could see going down was the front door. Whenever I'd go down them late at night, I'd imagine a monster on the other side of the door. He would peek through the tall window along the side of the door, making sure I couldn't see him while he watched me. I only briefly thought of these things at this point, though mostly preoccupied with trying to hear what show my mum had put on when I had gone downstairs and turned the corner to the family room. I was surprised to see it. Not one was there. I didn't think much of it at the time. My attention was mainly focused on the TV. The show looked like it came from the 70s. Both the camera and the puppets were old and poor quality. Are you ready to tell me what you learned today? A tattered old man puppet asked the screen. He had a simple design. It felt too boring for a kid's show. He wore a dusty chimney sweep's cap and overalls, and he had thin grey string for hair. His eyes were just large black buttons, and his mouth was stitched into a small grin. He waited, staring at the screen with his blank button eyes, before he continued. Well, are you? I nodded slowly, almost entranced by the simple puppet. Good, repeat after me. Once there was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. I was just about to repeat him when I felt something shake me by the shoulders. Benji, what's gotten into you? I snapped out with a jump. It was my mum. Her face was inches from mine. She looked worried. I just started at her, confused. Behind her, I could see the TV. The news was on. It was showing pictures of an old house. What's wrong? I said, still staring at the TV. I've called you 1,000 times. Why didn't you answer? I guess I fell asleep, I muttered. Not really sure what happened myself. She looked at me with a twinge of anger before it changed to concern. Well, dinner's ready, sweetheart. Life went on as usual. The next year, I forgot about the show completely. It wasn't until a week after Christmas when I would hear it again. I was playing a game on the new video game console I got that year. It had a system where you could make a little character to play, as on some games, called an avatar. In the game, you basically just ran an amusement park. You built the ride, and then your avatar would go on them, and you could see what it was like in first person. I had just paused the game to grab a snack when I heard it resume itself. I peeked back into the living room from the kitchen doorway to see a new attraction, one I knew I hadn't built. It was a puppet theatre. I watched as my avatar sat down in front of the theatre, but he looked different. His bright, fun colours were faded, and his posture looked sad. As the curtains to the theatre opened, I saw the old chimney sweep. Again, he looked different, too. His button eyes were smaller, and there were little grey threads that gave him a thin beard. "Hello, everyone," he said in a raspy, tired voice. "It's so nice to see you again. Do you remember where we left off?" He waited, staring at the camera. He stood out from the rest of the game, which everyone in the audience looked like they came from an early 2010 game made for children. He looked like just the same as he did before, sticking out like a sore thumb. I waited for him to continue speaking, but he just stood there. He was waiting for me. I knew he was. I nodded in my head, and immediately he spoke again. Good. Why don't we continue from there?" Once again, I silently nodded. The old man smiled and pulled a felt book out of his pocket. He began to read. "Once there was a crooked man who walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked steel." Once again, I was entranced. I couldn't move. I couldn't look away. The only thing I could do was watch until I heard my mum's voice yelling at me. "Benjamin, close the fridge. Are you listening to me?" I jumped back, slamming the fridge door shut as I did. "Sorry, Mum," I said, still catching my breath. "I was just thinking about something." I knew she didn't believe it. She always knew when I was scared, and I could see on her face that same look as before. "Do you want to talk about it?" I did. I really did. I knew she wouldn't believe me if I told her, though. Even at the age, I knew how crazy it was. No, I'm fine," I said, unable to look in her eyes as I said it. She looked at me for a few seconds like she wanted to push, but she relented and gave me a quick hug before going back upstairs. I wish I could say that nothing happened for another year or so after that, or that nothing happened at all, but that wasn't the case. That night, I was clutching my teddy bear tight, tucked in, and nearly fell asleep when I heard the sound of my closet door opening. For clarification, my closet was one of those sliding open doors, and it broke off its hinges when I was a baby, meaning that every time you opened it, you would hear the sound of wood grinding against its hinges. It was loud enough to wake me up completely. I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. I was stuck, speechless, and unable to move as I heard something lightly tap against my closet door. Tap, tap. All I saw was 4 long, thin fingers wrapped around the door before I did the only thing I could. closed my eyes and hope. With my eyes closed, I heard the closet door open fully. I trembled as I heard a careful step from the closet, followed by another and another and another, until it was right beside my bed. I could hear its breath, sharp and pained. I felt the bed sink as it sat on the foot. I could hear how it struggled to whisper to me, "Hello, sweet one." I didn't move. I don't even think I could. I just squeezed my eyes closed and prayed that my mother would come save me. He got up, moved over to my side of the bed, and crouched down. I could feel its ragged breath hit my face. I could smell it. It smelled like rotten eggs. It was crouched only inches away from me. "Don't be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you." Its voice was odd, the way a parrot sounds when mimicking a word. But there was a kindness to it. "Shh, shh, don't cry, swept one. I'm here." My blood ran cold. I bit my lip, trying not to cry. Then I felt a thin, cold hand caress my cheek. The fingers were long. I could feel the skin sagging, and the fingertips, they felt like teeth. I choked back tears as a long, bony finger made its way to my lips. I felt the bed sink as it crept close. I could feel its cold face touching the side of my head, the sound of its sharp breath echoing like wind through a tunnel in my ear. It whispered to me between pain wheezing, "I know you're awake." Its fingers crept inside my mouth, scraping against my teeth. As its fingers methodically stroked each tooth, I let out a whimper. "Shh, shh, don't cry, sweet one," it mimicked. "Look at me. I won't let anyone hurt you." The voice started caring like a mother cradling her child. "Look at me, sweet one." I could smell its rancid breath. I could picture its rows of evil teeth wanting to devour me whole, its red eyes piercing into my soul, its toothed fingertips tearing away my skin the second I opened my eyes. "Look at me." This time it was harsh, demanding. I clenched my eyes shut as hard as I could as tears started to run down my cheek. Then I heard my mother's voice. Benji, are you alright? Why are you crying?" It was her voice, but I knew it wasn't her. It felt wrong, forced. There was no emotion behind the words, and words were emphasized at random. I bit my lip until I tasted blood, but I did not open my eyes. The creature spoke again, stealing my mother's voice. "Once there was a crooked man, he walked a crooked mile. He found a crooked sixpence upon a crooked stile. He bought a crooked pleasure from a crooked whore, and laughed a crooked laugh as she lay dying on the floor." There was no rhyme to this thing's poem. As soon as it was over, the monster let out a low, raspy laugh, "Ha ha 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 ha," before I felt the bed rise and heard it creep back into my closet. I never slept that night, but I did open my eyes until the sun told me I was safe. I had been squeezing my teddy so tightly that night that he popped a seam. I opened my eyes to those little foam beads all over my bed. I never told my mum what happened. Even if I did, she wouldn't believe me. That wasn't the end. In fact, I'd say that it was only the beginning. But I'm done reliving these things for now. Maybe I'll share more later. But it's midnight, and I can hear the sound of tapping coming from my closet door. So I think I'll just go to sleep for now. Thank you. That was The Crooked Man. Thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed and have a marvellous day. All the best.